special guest today is the man we wanted to run away to Greece for, and now the man we want to stay at home with on Sunday nights, Tom Conti. Thank you for coming.
Pleasure, thank you.
And also joining me, two other card-carrying Conti fans, Christine Hamilton and Maria McCurlane. Now, school's out for summer, and reading my own children's reports, I feel I can't really be too strict with them, because I do remember mine. And I wanted to know, can you remember any particular thing from your school reports? You know, that line that sort of burns still. Christine, were you a good girl? What was your report like?
Oh, I wasn't good at all. I had the endless could do better. Christine is too boisterous in class. She must be curbed. And Christine's handwriting knows no limits. It must change. Well, nothing's changed. My handwriting's got bigger.
And you're boisterous.
And I was a daring little performer, too. How about that?
I'm proud of that, and you still are a daring little performer. Yes, I had a maths teacher when I was at senior school. I won't give him the oxygen of publicity by naming him, but he said, I had a very strict one that my parents were furious about. If Maria spent as much time with figures and numbers as she did looking at the members of the opposite sex, then we may be looking at a second Einstein.
But you didn't.
No. That's very good. And look at you now.
Yes, look at me now.
Now, I think mine, and I will name her, Miss Tucker, I haven't forgotten this. It was my PE report, as if anyone would want to be good at PE, said, Nigella has no inclination to move whatsoever. So, Tom, come on, I need to know.
Well, I can't really remember the reports because they were so long ago, but there was one I remember. It was a comment that was written. I went to a Catholic boys' school, and I wasn't terribly good at all of that. And written at the end of this report was, the devil seems to get into this boy at his prayers. Now, that's absolutely true. Because I remember one of the nicest things I remember from school, I had a terrific pash on one of the teachers. And I remember one day, well, it happened more than once, so she maybe had been doing it on purpose, I never found out. But I remember her leaning over me and correcting something I'd written, and I felt her breast just touch my hair.
Oh, how riveting.
It was one of the most magical moments of my whole school life.
And I can see, so it's rather good. So you've had this effect on the opposite sex since boyhood?
No, they've had it on me.
Well, she obviously did it on purpose. I think you were right to assume that.
I think so, yes.
Do you feel more at ease with women than men anyway?
I suppose I do. I was brought up not with girls in the family because I'm an only child, but I played with girls more than I played with boys. The funny thing is that when you're a little boy and you play with girls, they call you a sissy. When you grow up, if you don't play with girls, they call you a sissy.
So, when you were given this accolade, maybe you're not pleased about it, the thinking woman's crumpet.
It's the nicest thing that anyone's ever said to me.
I think it's the nicest thing anyone could say about any.
Absolutely, yes. That was a long time ago now, because I'm now the thinking woman's mouldy bap.
Oh. You know what? It's only because you're very confident, and rightly so, that you can say something like that.
You're the thinking woman's pikelet. Any sensible woman prefers pikelets to crumpets.
I think this is getting a bit out of hand there. But I wanted to ask you something else about control. You see, look, you look very mild, and you've got a very good kind of, although you're very twinkly, you've got a mellow thing going on, but I know that you're a bit of a fighter, and I tell you why I know that, because I may be wrong, maybe, is that when Whose Life Is It Anyway transferred to Broadway, you had to insist upon being allowed the role, didn't you? Because they wanted, because of union laws and everything, and you just were firm.
No, I couldn't insist upon it at all. It was nothing to do with me. It was the producer, a man called Manny Eisenberg, who insisted upon it. And there's a curious thing in America called star status, which the immigration people will acknowledge. But you have to prove it. So this producer actually went to court. He went to a court of law with evidence to say that I was the only person who could play this part. Really weird, because he was kind of keen to have me. It was nothing to do with me at all. I just had to wait for the outcome.
So you are you are a star by law?
By law.
That is very, very good.
Put it on your passport.
It should be.
Star. Occupation star.
Yes. They call you an alien of extraordinary ability.
That is a very good thing. Why do you not have a T-shirt with that on?
Yeah, or antennae.
That is very good.
You're having us on. They don't really call it.
That's exactly what you're known as, an alien of extraordinary ability.
You are. You are that thing. But also,
alien,
as an actor, you are a bit bossed around, aren't you? I mean, in the sense that there's a director and you have to do that. And as a
Well,
novelist...
you don't have to, but
well, if you want the work.
Negotiate, yeah.
I presume.
Yes.
Yes. So, you know, as a novelist, you are more in charge of your characters. Not only more in charge, they do your bidding.
Yes.
You create them. Now, is that why you have morphed into a novelist? You're not only an alien, you are now a novelist.
An alien novelist. Yes, and in fact, I was being an alien when I started writing the book. No, it was very odd. I didn't do it for any particular reason. I just started writing it because I had some time on my hands and thought I ought not to waste it. So I started writing, and the most wonderful thing about it is the magic pencil, because you can do anything. You can create anything. You can create people, you can kill them, you can make them fall in love, you can do anything at all. And that is a feeling of strange power. But then they start, you think you have power over your characters, you think that you can determine their lives, but you can't. They start telling you about how they are and what they want.
But you've been put on medication since that.
It's frightening. It is a kind of schizophrenia.
Yeah. But I suppose if you do live in Hampstead, you'd feel a bit left out if you hadn't written a novel.
Yes, that's very left out, yeah.
But also you can sort of control them rather than, as an actor, you are quite often having to do lines, other people's lines and other people's direction and so on. So it's quite nice to have a bit of that back.
Yes, absolutely.
To be able to create and be very, very bossy with your characters.
Did you find it easy writing? Because we were just talking earlier, I mean, both of us would rather be out and about fizzing, and you said it's showing off, which speaks for both of us. But actually sitting in front of a computer is, for me, very hard work.
But did you enjoy it once you actually sit down?
Well, bits of it. I mean, I've got a novel still in the computer, which hasn't come out yet, but I've written 2 other books, and I just find it quite tough, the discipline of sitting there.
They do say of a novelist that he would rather, or she would rather, clear the hair out of the plug hole in the bath than actually sit down to work every day. You do anything rather than sit down.
But once you do it, it's like the before you do it, I'm sure it's the same before you go on stage.
That's right.
And then you're there. But did you have any odd rituals? Because, you know, a lot of writers do. You know, Schiller always had to keep a rotten apple core in his desk before he wrote.
Why?
You know that?
Why?
I think it reminded him of the rottenness at the heart of Europe.
Oh, my goodness. So did he plan them? Did he buy apples with an advance so they'd be rotten on a certain day?
I presume Mrs. Schiller did a lot of the marketing,
behind every...
Yes. So nothing like that?
No, nothing like that.
No little rituals?
No, none at all. Just things that stop you from actually beginning to write.
Making cups of tea?
Making cups of tea. And you have to be distant from the tea or the coffee, so that you have to get up and go to make it. So that takes you away from the writing for another 5 minutes. If you had it close by, then you'd only be away from it for 3 minutes.
But I think that's important. I think wasting time... She said in
a
needless self-justification. I think, as you say, here we are. Wasting time is a very important part of the creative process. I'm in the kitchen making beef skewers with horseradish dip, and I've asked Tom to lend a helping hand. Now, Tom, I don't actually know whether you're a very practised cook. I know that you've got Italian blood, and so I assume that you're at home in the kitchen.
I am quite at home in the kitchen. Actually, it's a very funny story. My father came to Scotland in 1920. He and a whole lot of other Italians, and they were, of course, they were friends, and they soon met girls. And were invited back to the homes of the girls, and then they had a meeting among themselves, and they said, you know, if we are going to marry in these girls, we are going to starve into death. Because they thought the girls couldn't cook. So they actually held cooking classes round, you know, one night they would go to Mary's house, the next night they would go to Margaret's house, and they taught the girls the basics of Italian cooking.
That's very good. I like the way the girls are kind of a motif in the Conti household. I'm going to feed you, and why I'm doing these, I suppose I thought about the beef with horseradish because it's Scottish beef, and I kind of think of it as Scottish satay because they're on little wooden sticks.
Right.
So I'm going to get you to do some things, but not a lot. So I'm going to...
Doesn't trust me.
No, I don't trust you, but this is my domain.
Oh, sure.
I'm welcoming you in, but I don't want you to send me out.
No, I don't want to do too much too early.
Yes, exactly. I marinate beef, I marinate all meat. I think it makes it much more tender, and the more you do when you cook beforehand, the less you have to do while you cook. So I suppose olive oil goes first into the marinade, and that's really because it's a bit like, I suppose, putting moisturiser on. I don't know if you put moisturiser on, but anyway, just think of it as lubricating the meat. This is some vinegar, red wine vinegar, very good Italian red wine vinegar. If you can't get good red wine vinegar, use balsamic. That is some port. You can use wine, and then some Worcestershire sauce, bit of salt and a bit of sugar. Both things are very, very nice in cooking.
What if you used white wine vinegar instead of red? Would it make
You could,
matter?
as long as it's good vinegar, it wouldn't
Right,
matter.
right.
You can use sherry vinegar, you can use any vinegar. The important thing is something acid
Yes.
to break down the
oil.
sinews.
Aha.
No, it's for the
Oh,
meat.
the meat
It's
itself.
the meat.
Oh,
It's
I
actually
see.
to make it more tender. Yes. Rosemary. This is lovely fresh rosemary. You can use any herb you like. Everyone thinks rosemary is just for lamb. I think it's great with beef. And some horseradish. Well, that's not so surprising. So I'm going to get you over here, if I may.
Yes.
All you need to do is empty out the liquid bits into this plastic
All of
bag.
them?
All
All-
of them.
everything?
Any order. And I'm going to do the solids.
Right. If only it was like this at home, you know, you go home, it was all laid out, everything all beautiful and clean.
I know, it is good, isn't it?
Yes,
and I
very
suppose, well, you could insist upon it.
So I'm going to pour this in here.
Pour it in. I use these plastic bags rather than, dishes for marinating, because one less thing to wash up, and it's
Right,
easier. You
yes.
can use less liquid and still coat the meat, whereas when it's in a bowl, it just is underneath. Do you know
Right,
what I mean?
yes.
Am I making myself clear
Absolutely.
at all?
Yes, completely. I'm going to do this
Kind
when I
of
get
you
home
say
tonight.
so. Okay, I'm going to put the beef in, and then what I want you to do is kind of have a good old squelch around and massage. Not yourself. Yeah. Well, any time, I was really hoping you'd ask. No, just a little massage in.
Right.
In Japan, do you know they massage... Can I leave you alone? Is that as good as the breast against the head?
Oh, no, nothing's as good as the best against the hand.
OK, now, when you finish that, you can have
I've
a
finished.
slightly more masculine, forceful action. You can take a... I'm going to show you, not that it's very hard. I don't mean to patronise you. So the skewers here, anyway, are in water. Can you see?
I can see.
Would you like to know why, or can you work it out?
To keep them clean.
It's so that if you were putting this on a barbecue, or even here, they won't, burn up in flames straight away because they're bamboo.
But what's that got to do with the water?
Because it's wet.
But if you put that onto a barbecue, it'll instantly dry, won't it?
No, it
the
won't.
water will go in a second, won't it?
You can try it. No, it just will stop. Yes, but these
Really?
don't take very long to cook. No, it won't go in a second. They won't burn. Are you going to do some? Are you
Okay.
just going to discuss?
Just kibitz.
Yes, oh, that's a very good. Is that from playing Adam in the Glittering Prizes that you know
No words
kibitz?
like that, no.
That just means generally, throw in little either complaints or subsidiary questions.
Yes.
For those who don't know, I'm going to slap those on.
How many do you want
You can
to
do
stop?
3 or 4. That's fine. You've done better than I have.
Should you leave
Bit of
a
space.
a
That's
bit
what-
of space?
Bit of space. That's very good work, if I may say so.
No, thank you very much. And
Okay.
then dump it on that.
Do you want me to? Because I don't mind
you very much.
burning myself, and I don't want to... Your insurance premium is too high for me. Here, you can...
Thank you. Oh, that's a nice bit.
let
Oh,
me.
yes, very nice.
I feel I should really dry your hands with my hair, but not now. Another time. I'm going to move this out of the way. Would you like to sit down? Because I'm just going to finish off, and I'm going to make the dipping sauce for you.
What do you call that pan?
A griddle.
A griddle. I mean, you don't put oil or anything onto it. You cook it dry.
No, if you put oil on a griddle, you will get the smokiest kitchen in the world, and I know that from
that
experience.
why?
But that's what there's oil in the marinade, and
Right.
that's what we're doing. Okay, so a little bit of a horseradish dip for you, sir.
Right. What is horseradish, actually?
It's a root. It looks like a parsnip, but is very much more pungent.
Pungent. It is quite pungent. Yeah.
Very pungent. It's heavenly, actually. This is creme fraiche. You could use a thick Greek yogurt. Dijon mustard, just because English mustard would be too strong, because horseradish itself is pretty fiery. And this is a very, very complicated part of cooking. I'm stirring them all together. So that's all cooking is. Yep. So
Mixing
that was the
everything up.
horseradish. Now the mustard, mix it all up. Making a bit of a mess as you go, but that's all right. That's life.
Right.
Okay. Keeps me going. I'm going to put that in my watery thing. I'm going to put this in your special little dip bowl. It's like, here you are. Sort
It's a lot of dip you're giving me.
I know, but you've
only
got...
3
I'm
bits of
giving you...
meat.
No, I'm giving you both.
You give me 4 bits of meat. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see.
I am, but I am giving it to you.
They haven't
once
turned-
I am going to turn these, but what I didn't want to do is give you stuff that would really scald you.
They would scold
I was
it, yes.
thinking, well, they would.
Yes, they
so
would.
here you are. Beef
That's it.
skewers with horseradish dip, a bit like Sunday lunch in canapé form.
Very nice, and so quickly and efficiently prepared. Thank you.
So you probably... I don't think you
look-
need a knife. I think you can just... Oh, you can if you want. I think it's easier just to slide them... I must stop being so bossy. I must stop being so bossy.
See, well, if you're in a restaurant, what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to take them all off the thing, all off the stick.
You could do. Don't... Sorry,
Of the rolls.
I don't want to be too bossy, but don't forget your dip.
The dip.
That I did make very lovingly for you.
Can I taste it first without, so that I can taste the marinade?
Yay.
Now, you want to taste the marinade?
Manja.
No, it's very nice. It's tender too, which a lot of meat is not.
Well, your marinade helped.
Ah.
Now, one thing I love unconditionally is handbags. You get all the ecstasy of shopping without the agony of the changing room. And today we're looking at everyday bags. That's to say, no one wants those little small dinky ones now. This season, big is better, and we've got 4 very, very bold and glamorous ones. But can we tell which ones are expensive and which ones are cheap? I'm going for the first bag. Bag A.
Bag A.
OK, so I have to think, so how much do you think this is, give or take? You don't need to be precise.
That's a hideous
It's got
colour.
It's not... Do you think it's hideous colour?
It's not something you would necessarily... I must buy a green bag today.
I actually rather like the
Quite
colour.
like
I think it is quite
Yes,
nice.
I would like it more if it was even a little bit bolder, but I don't really like...
Yeah, you're outvoted,
30
Maria.
quid?
Okay.
What do you buy first, the bag or the dress?
40 quid.
I buy bags and I don't buy dresses, as I say, because I really loathe going to changing rooms. And a bag is like, it's nice, it's like a toy,
Easy.
and, you know, so that's...
But you have to remember the colours of all your dresses when you buy them.
Well, but in winter, a lot of black, and then you can wear a bag like this.
I see.
So, quick guess, I would say this is about £60.
I said 40.
I think
would-
it's more.
I was going to say 45.
I'm thinking 120.
Wow.
Very, very precise way to be thinking. But let me see. Oh, my goodness, River Island, £15. That's good then. That's a result. So, Tom, I want you to inspect yours and show it to us.
Right, it's my
And
handbag.
I want to think whether
I
we
didn't
would
bring
think...
this from home.
You did.
Oh, yes, you did. We
It
saw it
fe-
in your dressing room.
It
your
feels...
personal
What do you
bag.
think? What do you
It feels
think?
expensive. The stitching looks pretty good. I would say this was... I would say this was probably a bit expensive. I would say probably £90.
I would put it higher than that, actually. I think that probably is a sort of real thing.
Never having bought a
I
handbag,
don't
of
really
course, I don't
like
know how much
that.
it costs in the first place.
It's
Have
not
you
whether or
never
not you
bought your
like
wife
it.
a handbag?
No, too
No,
dangerous.
wise man.
What
Wise
do,
man.
what do you
I
buy?
hit you with it.
What do you buy her, Tom?
I buy other things, a bit of
Flowers?
clothing and things,
No,
but
no.
flowers, but not a handbag. It's too
OK, let's get...
dangerous.
Excuse me.
Lingerie, by the
I want
sound
to have
of
a
it.
quick look. Why am I not being shown your bag?
I beg your pardon.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
OK. I think these make it look a bit cheap, the
Yes.
sparkly
Yes, they do,
things.
the trimmings.
I'm going for about... a bit higher than that, though, I'd say. Higher than that, so
Oh,
about
yes.
£40.
Higher than that.
And yours
Did you
was
let
what?
us know?
I'm going for 120 again.
And mine was 19. You
I haven't
I'll
put a
get it
figure
right.
on it. I
Yeah,
find
but
that rather a confusing bag.
put a figure on it. Now. Now.
She's frightening, it's frightening.
Come on, Christine, we're all getting
130.
old here.
130.
Oh.
295 pounds.
That is a lot.
A lot,
That
isn't
is
it?
a lot.
It's a lot.
Well, can we tell
Christine?
Tocker that their trimmings need to be up thingied if they want us to
You
pay
may
that
tell
much?
them.
OK.
Yeah.
This is, I think, perfectly hideous. Why have I got the...
I'm loving yours.
Oh,
That's very trendy at the moment. to have
Oh, well,
bronzing,
I
isn't
think
it?
it's horrible. I don't like it. I mustn't. I think it's cheap. It's probably terribly expensive.
No, but I love I love the chocolate look of it, all that sort of glistening brown. I think that's rather pretty.
Isn't that funny? I don't.
You know why? It's because of your beautiful golden hair. Whereas if you're dark-haired, you wear things to match. So you wear a lot of brown.
Well, I always go for bright colours. I mean, I would like a red bag to wear with pink, because, I mean, why wear one colour if you can wear two that clash?
Preferably
six
along.
that clash.
Is this working at the place that no one will notice you?
I think this is
More expensive than that one that's about 300?
more expensive than that one. No, less expensive than that one. Heavens alive, a lot less expensive.
I'm taking Maria's figure. I'm saying 120.
I'm going
Okay.
to go 350.
Wow.
Do you think it's more than that bag? Do you think it's more expensive than yours?
No, I would say 15 quid.
15
Okay, what do you think, Christine?
I would pay someone to take this away from
Okay,
me.
then.
550.
550 pounds.
I think you're right. I was closer.
For them, tell them I'll give them 15 quid.
Well, I think Tom's the winner there. There you are. It's a present for your wife.
OK, my bag.
Maria,
mine is purple snakeskin, from the purple snake, obviously. And it's
snakeskin or croc?
Oh, croc. Well, purple croc. I mean, how many of those do you see? And it's annoying because it's one of those chunky ones, but how can you put it over your arm? You can't, you see.
Lots of time at the gym.
Very... That's really true.
Well, do you like it first?
I do quite like this, actually.
You don't think it's more than the 550?
What was that, 500? It could be, you know.
No.
Yes, it's more expensive. I've said it.
I think this is a girl who knows her bag, so I think you'll probably... It can't be more expensive.
No, it can't be more than that.
Can't be more. No, I think it's less than that.
My opinion.
But more than that.
Tom, what do you think?
250.
No, it looks cheap to me. I would say cheap. Okay. 35
What do you think? 35? You think 35 pounds?
OK,
Would you have
the reveal. 6,700.
I have to say...
I think that's obscene.
I know. Earlier, we asked the audience which bag was their favourite, and there was a difference of opinion, quite interestingly, between men and women. So the men preferred bag B. I don't know whether that's because it was with Tom, and that is really about £300. And the women preferred this bag, mine, which is £15, and they say that we're extravagant.
Yes,
so that's a bit much. Wow. And interestingly, the least liked here, sorry Maria, was that one. Well, I'm very, very proud of you, audience. You've showed a lot of discernment, a lot of taste. I mean, why else would you be here? So I'm very, very thrilled, and I think you deserve something of a treat, a reward. And I have 5 special edition lavender KitchenAids waiting for a good home. So look at your keypad, and if it's lit up, just stand up. Welcome. Congratulations. So here I am back in the kitchen, but for once not cooking, but fixing you a drink. I think in summer you have to do something with watermelons, and they look so juicy. You just want to kind of dive into them. But I'm sparing you that effort, because you just have to drink it. I'm making a watermelon daiquiri. And, you know, daiquiris are frozen. You often have a lot of ice cubes. And I'm making it much simpler, because watermelon is quite watery. So what I do is I chop up the watermelon into cubes, and I put them in the freezer. Can you hear that? So they've been frozen, and I use those instead. And normally in cocktails you need sugar syrup, but I find that a bit of a bother, just sort of boiling up sugar and water and then letting it get cold. So I reckon that icing sugar dissolves very, very easily. In the kitchen you balance, the whole of life you need balance, so with that sweetness, some lime juice, just to give it a bit of an edge. And, you know, this is a cocktail, so I've got white rum. And very, very easy, it's just a question of blitzing everything together in the blender. You have to be fairly patient with it, just because they are quite cold, but you don't have to do anything, you just have to watch it blitz away. Here we are, there are the cubes, the sugar, and if you don't want to have alcohol, you know, I wouldn't force you, so miss out the sugar and don't have the rum and just use lemonade, and then you've got like a watermelon lemonade. For me, this is the hardest thing. I'm really a klutz, and I can't do anything with this kind of thing. I'm going to try and put this on. Now I'm going to wrestle with this. Oh, I've made it work. OK, drinks time. Watermelon daiquiri, there it is.
This is the moment I've been waiting for.
There's a bit of ice cube there. See, look, our little bits of watermelon ice cube. Perfect. Please drink away, Tom. Don't wait for me.
Cheers. One of my unfulfilled dreams was to have Nigella make me a daiquiri, and here it's been fulfilled.
There you are. I need it too.
God, that's good, isn't it?
I think we deserve it. Anyway,
wow.
Enjoy it. Thank you for coming, Tom. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Maria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nigella.